Allie with PotomacBeads, and today's Beader episode is going to focus on safety chains. Safety is very important, especially when you don't want to lose your jewelry or might have a little trouble getting it on and off yourself. So I'm going to go in and show you how to create and make a safety chain for your already existing jewelry. So there's a number of different reasons that you would want a safety chain. A safety chain, think about it as a piece of chain that's attached to the bracelet that doesn't take away from the design or the necklace and is used so literally you don't lose the piece. You notice safety chains a lot on watches, on some fine pearl jewelry. Another reason is because the clasp is just giving way. I have a bracelet here that's a nice clasp, garden clasp, and it still works perfectly. But say you have a nice vintage clasp that does not have that nice click in, but you don't want to lose the design of the clasp. You can't get it to work, and sometimes it stays shut, but not always. What do you do so you don't lose it when you are wearing the piece? On the ends of the piece, you will usually have a way to connect the safety chain, whether or not that's onto a wire guard or onto a clasp, and you want chain, again, that does not take away from the project. It needs to have loops that are big enough that you can either get jump rings through them to attach them to the clasp area, or that you can get wire through them and create your own. So what do I do for my safety chain? I need to make sure that when I'm using a piece or have a piece of jewelry that needs a safety chain added, that I can get the safety chain long enough that I can get the piece on my wrist here, that it connects both sides, but I can still slip it on and off, because the safety chain, while you can make it really removable with some lobster clasps, this one is not going to be. So you can figure out about how much you need. So if you need, 2 extra inches in order to slip it off, or 3 inches, and you're just going to chop that amount off. With jump rings, you're just literally going to open the jump ring, slide it onto the chain, slide it on right near the clasp, close it up. Another reason you may need to do this, because the vintage clasp has been staying closed, is if you have a clasp that is too tiny and it's really, really hard to get on and off, but maybe you want to keep that clasp for the integrity of it. You can keep the clasp on and still add that safety chain in, or you can just do a chain extender at the end and add it onto the side or replace the clasp. But again, if you want to keep the clasp, or you want that safety chain, when I'm doing a necklace, I want to think about the fact that it can slip over my head. The reason is because some people start to get arthritic hands and it's not as easy to get on and off clasps. You don't get frustrated. You can wear your necklace without the clasp on because you got it over your head. The other thing, sometimes it's easier to put the necklace on and work with the clasp if you don't have to hold the piece in place. So say I'm trying to put this on and I just can't quite get it and hold it and get that piece. If I already have the safety chain on, I can let those ends dangle and the piece isn't gonna fall off the back of me or fall off if I'm wearing it. So to add the safety chain on, again, you pick out whatever length you need it to be, probably a little bit longer for the necklace. And once you have that length picked out, my favorite way to add it is to go with raw wire. You're going to take a round nose pliers, make a loop, big or small, doesn't really matter. Slide that loop so it's not going to affect where the clasp is, and add that in. Go ahead, and then basically we're making a figure 8. I'm gonna shrink it down a little bit so don't see it too much. Wrap that wire around itself. This is just some basic wire working skills. Again, a jump ring will work. Cut off that extra wire. And now here's what I like to do. So say I have this nice pendant, doesn't come off, doesn't come on, it's just a super duo bezel. What I'm gonna do is slide on a little bead that kind of enhances the look. It keeps going with that crystal look there at the back so it doesn't look like it's out of place. And you're literally just going to make your link, make your loop on both sides here. And then once you have your loop made, and there's all kinds of videos on making and working with wire, once you have that link made, you're gonna slide your safety chain onto there. This way it looks like it's to be. It works not only as an extender chain because you can wear it to that length, but generally speaking, it'll work to give a nice, easy way to put on your necklace if you do struggle to get clasps on or off. That then gets chopped off there, and you repeat on the same side on the other end. So that safety chain, which then I can hook onto my clasp still, that safety chain is just going to be there at the back. So again, you can slip it over your head. You don't lose it off. And if you do have a day where you're struggling, that safety chain, once attached to the other side, I can slide it on my head and I can still wear my pendant at a different length. Also, if again, I have a clasp that I really love, but for some reason, maybe that trigger of that older one has a really cool vintage design on it, a really cool clasp, or maybe even a heavy piece that tends to give way for the clasp. Stick your safety chain on because you don't want to lose that piece. 9 times out of 10, the safety chain, when something is falling off, is going to catch right there on your knuckle because you want it to be nice and tight, and you're not going to lose your piece. This is done, again, a lot of times with pearls and different pearl necklaces. You can take that safety chain attached to those wire guards on either end here. It doesn't affect the clasp, and it just hangs out right along the back to, again, give you that extra security and that extra safety. Now, whether or not you want to do that in addition to or in place of an actual extender chain, that's up to you. But having a safety chain, again, kind of gives you that peace of mind that when I have chain already connected, necklace, it's going to need to slip over your head, bracelet, it's going to need to slip over the widest part of your wrist. You know that if by chance the clasp gives way, you're not going to have a chance of your piece actually falling off because it will just hang and dangle at that longer level where that safety chain is permanently connected and you can slide it on and off yourself. Safety chains are really, really nice for those, again, with that arthritic hand. It makes it a little bit easier to put the jewelry on if you don't have to also think about keeping it in place because the safety chain fits over the wrist or fits over the neck. Safety chain is also a great idea if you're making younger children's jewelry as well. I usually like to use lobster clasps for that, but sometimes that trigger does break, and that's where that safety chain comes in handy. Any chain will work, generally speaking, because it's not actually getting the clasp in it. It's just a nice thin addition. I try to look for a chain that matches or looks nice in addition to the jewelry that I'm wearing. You can even, if you want to dress up the safety chain, hang some beads down for it, or keep it as minimal as possible and just have that nice, small, tiny cable chain. Remember, with all the Better Beader episodes, the idea of these Better Beaters is to give you more knowledge into the craft of making jewelry, to make you a better beader, to answer questions, to be able to order supplies, and to make your customers happy if you design and make jewelry. Remember, if you need any materials, check out the links below me to PotomacBeads.com as well as PotomacBeads.eo. Also, remember, you can check out the little link that side there. Hit that little bell and subscribe to this YouTube channel to get regular updates from us here at Potomac Beads. From one beader to another, have fun creating and happy beading, everyone.